for watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 27th meeting for the Michigan City Planning Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. The May 27, 2025 meeting of the Michigan City Planning Commission shall begin, and we will begin with roll call. Mr. Dabney.
Oh, present.
Ms. Tejeda.
Here.
Mr. Klingham. I mispronounced your name. Tim. Warner. Mispronounced it. Ross.
Present.
Yes.
Here.
Bruce Domenici. Tony.
Here. Fred Klunder here.
Thank you. And we have a quorum, so we shall proceed. So the first item is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any comments or requests for amendment to the agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. So we'll go down to Mr. Dabney, start with you. Aye or nay?
Aye.
Rose?
Yes.
Aye.
Ross?
Yes.
Aye for Domenici.
Yes. Fred Klunder, aye.
The ayes have it. The agenda is approved. So first item on the agenda, pardon me, I had it up in front of me. Okay, is approval of the minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from the prior meeting? Does anybody require extra time to review the minutes? Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes?
To clarify, those are the minutes of April 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. April 22, 2025.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Support.
Very well.
Mr. President, is it
Yes.
okay if I call the roll so I can do it really quick?
Oh, I thought I
No,
called.
it just makes it easier for me to do it if it's okay with
Very
you.
well.
But if you would still like to call it, it's your.
No.
Okay.
No.
Got it.
People are busy, so I.
Mr. Balling,
Yes.
Mr. Connolly,
Yes.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Domenici,
Aye.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda,
Yes.
Mr. Warner.
Here.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Very well. All right, the next item on the agenda is we have two petitions. The first is 902-25-1, requesting primary plat approval of a minor subdivision to split the current parcel into two lots to create another buildable commercial lot located at 201-275 West Highway 20. Has everyone had a chance to review the petition? Does anybody request an extra time to review the petition? And
Mr. President, we do have Mr. Steve, I'm sorry, Attorney Steve Unger with us tonight, representing the petitioner and a surveyor.
very well. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Good evening. Steve Unger from Bose McKinney and Evans in Indianapolis here on behalf of the petitioner, GLI 275 US 20 LLC. Also with me tonight is Jeff Wishick, who is the managing member of the petitioner, and also Tony Hendricks, who is the surveyor that's helping us out on this project. I did have a handout I gave to Mr. Hale. I don't know if he had a chance to pass those out, but I thought it would just be easy. It's 2 pages there. Yep, it looks like you guys have it. The first page, the cover page, is just a picture of the primary plat or the proposed plat that we're asking to be approved, the subdivision. And then I just went ahead and did an aerial that's taken from the LaPorte County GIS, because pictures are worth 1,000 words. And sometimes I think it's easier to see what's going on from the aerial. So again, this is a request for a minor subdivision. We're taking a single parcel and seeking to split it into 2 parcels. You can see this parcel is the existing parcel is on the north side of US 20. The address is, according to the GIS, is 201 US 20. According to the Postal Service, it's 275 US 20. It's the existing building that's on the site. You can see it's on the west end of the site of the parcel. It's the former tire barn site. It's vacant right now. I would say it's in disrepair. The intention is to take that, if we're able to get this subdivided, is to take that site and redevelopment into another auto shop, but clean it up and have a nice auto shop there. And then what we're asking to do is split off the second parcel, which would allow us either to sell it to be a second developable lot, or potentially also sell it back to the mall developers. So there wouldn't be a new building there, but it could be a parking lot still for whatever happens to the mall. So that's the intention. That's what we're trying to accomplish. So the subdivision, the proposed, the plat complies in our view with your subdivision control ordinance. It satisfies the lot size restrictions, the minimal frontage, the dimension restrictions, has access. We believe there's sewer and water already available at the site because of the tire barn. So again, no specific plans right now for what would become the east parcel, but we would be able to sell it to developer, sell it back to the mall owners. We did, and I'm happy to address, there were some comments from staff. I don't know, Steve or Skylar, if you have a preference to go through those first, and then we can address them, or I can address them ahead of time. But
Mr. President, how would you like to do that? Would you like me to read my staff report maybe, and then then address the comments? What would be easier, preference of the Plan Commission?
I would, I suppose it makes sense for you to read your report, and then I think I ask if there are comments from the commission about whether we handle this today or not. So please go ahead with your comments.
So give me just a minute. Let me read, and then I've summarized those comments. And the reason I'm asking is I summarized those comments into the staff report, the 3 of substance into the staff report. And then we do have city engineer here, and we do have sanitation, representative of sanitation or stormwater here tonight. So maybe we can address some of those collectively, if you will.
Happy to answer questions about those. I think ultimately our request is for primary plat approval tonight, so we can hold the public hearing, get the public hearing accomplished, get primary plat approval, and we're happy to work through and address comments prior to secondary plat approval, which would be an administrative approval and wouldn't require coming back to the Plan Commission for that.
Yeah, and I will say that keep in mind for the Plan Commission's knowledge, it's a 120-day approval period. If we approve primary tonight, 120 days. That kind of starts the clock, if you will, for them to do some due diligence and then come back, work with the various departments, et cetera, to get the answers the answers to the liking of the departments, if you will. So let me read my staff report, Mr. Attorney Unger, real quick, and then I'll have you jump back up here.
Yep.
Okay. This is May 27th, 2025. It's case number 902-25, a minor subdivision, primary and secondary is the request. 201 or 275, whichever one it really is, West Highway 20. The petitioner is requesting the approval of a one lot minor subdivision, primary and secondary plat approval. Staff analysis: the property is located at 201 West US Highway 20 between Ohio Street and Franklin Street, and it's on the north side of the street. And as you heard the Attorney Unger, it's the old previous, I think it was a tire barn. This is a large parcel with a vacant formal commercial structure located on it. The current zoning of this parcel is B2 General Commercial Zoning District. The uses allowed in this zoning district are those typically found in the general vicinity of the area of US 20 and Franklin Street. These are typically auto-oriented developments in large lots and with larger parking areas. Department comments from water and sanitation and fire. I'll read fires first because fires are pretty short and sweet. They said fire has no issues with this request at this time. And typically they don't get involved until you bring us a building. So I'll read sanitation department's comments first. The sanitation department does not object to subdividing the parcel. However, there appears to be unresolved issues with the location of stormwater infrastructure that crosses over the potential proposed lot 1 to proposed lot 2, and from proposed lot 2 to the adjacent parcel to the east of proposed lot 2. Additionally, clarity is needed on the existing location of the sanitary sewer service from proposed lot 1, whether that discharges into a private or public system, and how proposed lot 2 will have access to sanitary sewer services. Number 2, the water department. The department has no issue with the subdividing of land. However, the subdivision should be delayed until such time that water lines belonging to the mall have been identified and severed. There is a water shutoff manhole identified near the southwest corner of proposed lot 2. This structure is not part of the development's facilities and is most likely part of the irrigation system for the mall property. We have no record of this structure being tied to the department's water mains, so it is likely tied to the mall's private water line, which is near the fire hydrant north of proposed lot 2 near the center. I would request that the Marquette Mall ownership and or new property owners shall provide a site utilities map or ALTA survey showing the origin and termination of the lines attached to the structure, as well as the private lines within lot 1 and within 20 feet of lot 2, and then provide documentation that these lines have been severed outside of the proposed property lines for the proposed lots 1 and 2. It is possible that these lines are pressurized and may cause issues and water loss if hit during construction. Number 3, the engineering department. The cross access should not be apparent, but be dimensionally defined, at least in the northeast corner of lot 2. There is a sidewalk in lot 2 along with the south face of the former Carson's building, and very defined bi-directional travel lanes adjacent to this sidewalk exiting the eastern lot. The parent cross-access use lane running north and south on the east side of the lot should be removed. We do not believe that NDOT will allow 2 drives in this lot from US 20. There should be a maintenance agreement easement for the storm sewers. Though not shown, these storm sewers must cross into adjacent lots. Staff recommendation. Based on the analysis and the information provided by the departments, the staff recommends approval of the primary subdivision with the conditions that all department comments be addressed in full to satisfaction of the departments and planning office prior to secondary approval. So those were the comments that were given to me. I think you guys have a copy of them too. We have a good portion of the people here that provided those comments to us. We're missing one. But his was pretty detailed with the water. It makes sense. Like I think he's just trying to say where's the water at if it's not in their atlas, you know. So how do you want Mr. President, how would you like to proceed? Would you like to have Mr. Unger come back up here and just kind of start addressing some of these?
I'm turning to Mr. Klinder to see if he has a preference. I'm sorry. My mistake. I got too much on my mic tonight.
Mr. Werner?
Yeah, Mr. Warner.
Yeah, I think we can have the applicant come up and talk about some of these issues that were brought forth in the staff report.
And I do want to make sure too, because it's a public hearing, if there's anybody else that wants to comment, they have an opportunity to comment as well before we're done. So I'm happy to. I mean, I will say we did get copies of some of the comments late last week and looked through them, and happy to work with the departments to address them. A couple of comments. One is, and I'll work backwards on the access question, and if everybody has the plat in front of them again. So when we purchased this property from the mall owners at the time, we worked out an access agreement, a specific access agreement, and it was intentionally vague on where the access was. so that we could develop the site and move the access if we needed to. It's our understanding and completely expect that there would never be a second curb cut on US 20 there. I would expect the state wouldn't allow that either. But so there is an existing cross-access agreement between the mall and us for this parcel that says the access will be wherever you use your access. So the mall has the ability to move their access as they redevelop that site. And then but we just can't cut access off entirely to each other. And so it would be, and I have no problem recording an cross access agreement for lot 1 and lot 2 that essentially says the same thing. But what we want to make sure is that neither is tight. If I have a specific area that I identify, for example, through lot 2, that may limit lot 2's whoever buys lot 2, their ability to construct a building there that complies with your setback restrictions and all of those things. So what our preference would be that we continue to be vague until we complete our development of our site, and whether we sell it back to the mall owner or something is built there. We don't want to completely cut off each other's access, but we want to have the ability to relocate the access as needed. And that's what the agreement is right now. And so that would be our preference, that we continue to with that and for the access issue. In terms of utilities, we're happy to figure out and identify on our property where the utility lines are. I mean, I know, like I said, I went out and walked the property and drove it, and it's clear to me that there's a water main at least that runs along US 20, because there's hydrants there that are clearly public hydrants. I see that there's a private hydrant on the north side. My understanding from our surveyor is that there's a water line that goes all the way around the mall and a sewer line that goes all the way around the mall. My only comment is I'm fine if we identify what's on our property, but I don't think it should be on us to identify where all of the mall's infrastructure is. Certainly when the Marquette Mall gets redeveloped, whoever will come in and do that, I think it would be appropriate for them to identify it at that time. We don't have a problem figuring out what's on our site, showing where the drainage goes. I think we know that the drainage goes up to the north and to the west. There's a drainage pond north of the theater. I think we're confident that's where the drainage goes. There are a series of access in our title work at cross access agreements and utility easements with the mall. We're happy to pull that and try to identify where those easements are as well. But my preference would be, or I would ask that if it's a condition of getting secondary plat approval, it's not off-site the mall's utilities that we need to identify. It's just the stuff that's on our site. But otherwise, I think with those conditions, we're happy to work with the planning staff and your departments and get all of this figured out and help them however we can.
Looking to see if any members of the commission have comments that they wish to raise.
You talked about not identifying off-site facilities, but I think with the storm sewer, certainly the receiving inlet will need to be shown there's an inlet in lot 1, there's an inlet in lot 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's an inlet about 5 feet immediately to the east of lot 2, just south of the Carson's building a little bit. And then there's the storm that we think is probably the receiving sewer. So I think once those sewers are identified as far as entering and exiting the storm inlets, you pretty much have your answer for the adjacent inlets on each side, the north of the parcels and to the east. So I think the sanitary district, I don't want to speak for Al, but that's one of the things that I saw right away when I looked at this. Sanitary easements, again, that'll be Al looking at that. But yeah, I don't think we don't want you to survey all the way up to St. John Road, but certainly to get the structures identified immediately adjacent that would be receiving or delivering stormwater to the two parcels right now.
Any other comments?
One quick question. I take it you had to buy this whole piece of property from the mall. They wouldn't break it down and give you what you wanted, just a tire barn.
It was a single lot.
Yeah. So now you and us are having to go through all this because of that acquisition and us having to separate this if you want to sell it. I got that clear. I'm just wondering if we need to go through all of this. Why don't you just keep that lot?
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be able to sell the second lot, or you wouldn't be able to develop. So for us to sell it back to the mall, we would need to create a parcel split, or to build something else there. You would have to have a second developable lot. So it makes that second half marketable.
Yeah, been trying to find something marketable about that mall for 20, 30 years. It's complicated. Thank you.
Other comments from the commission? We should open it up for public comments now.
Yes, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. Good evening, distinguished and honorable plan commissioners. I think it should be duly noted, I went on to the Beacon site to research this matter earlier today. I was very surprised to learn that the Marquette Mall property has a new owner. Ton and Blank Construction bought it. They closed on it back on May 7th. So I hope some can really start moving on that. I really wish they kind of changed the name from Marquette Mall to something else. Just maybe get some of the old obsolete signs. I don't think they should have signage anymore. I know that's all private property, but I think that should be duly known. And I hope whatever goes in there, new automotive shop, I hope they profit and thrive. Thank you.
Hello, distinguished board and all y'all. This is Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. I never want to be a thorn in the side of development. As you should know, I'm very pro-development for this town, and I don't like the standard hindrances that a new developer has to go through: planning commission, redevelopment, et cetera. It is our process and it is required. That said, I'm at a little bit of a loss since there are no exhibits for the public to see, but in an aerial view of this, it looks like the tire barn itself is a lot. But apparently the lot is actually what looks like part of to the east of there, part of the parking lot, part of the mall. If this helps facilitate if these subdivisions help us redevelop the tire barn property, I'm 100% for it. Clearly you guys have maps and can see the plat, and it should be divided. That makes all sorts of good sense. My only concern would be the new lot dimensions and parking requirements therein for commercial property, if the new lots would have appropriate space, so we don't create another problem down the road. But generally speaking, I think we should do anything to facilitate this as rapidly as possible. Thank you.
Any other public comments? So, Mr. York, looking again at the staff recommendation, are any of the comments that were made today inconsistent with your recommendation that there be the approval of the primary subdivision with the matters having to be addressed in full prior to secondary approval?
No, I think everything was right on point. I think you got a good surveyor. He knows where a lot of bones are heading over there, because he's worked a lot. He's done a lot of work around that site. I've worked with him on other subdivisions. And you got a willing developer that's willing to kind of work with our departments, as long as I do like the idea of the cross access easement across to your other lot. I know you shared today the easement between you and Mall, and I think I do, now that I see your point, is that having it be a little bit ambiguous to be able to be moved, if you will, probably makes sense from the standpoint of, if you define it on this plat, it's there, and then you got to come back and move it. Yeah. Right? Even though it's an administrative act, it's still a process to get it done. If you leave it ambiguous and let the development define where the access goes, it will define itself, if you will. I don't know if that seems to make a little sense for me, Tim, from that standpoint.
Yes.
I get it now. So I think it's just a matter of fact of just having that the easement, so that later on, if whatever the new owners decide to do, if they close up one access and you don't get another curb cut, you can at least get to the property and it's still valuable to the developer. That makes sense. But no, I don't think anything here is contrary to what we talked about with staff recommendation. And keep in mind, if you grant primary plat approval tonight, it's good for 120 days. So it does set out a time frame for that, where it's just not open ended. So that's, in my opinion, that's a good thing. So
Mr. Hale, did you have comments or a report?
Yes, sir. My report is for petition 902-25, subsection 1 and subsection 2. I've split it because, as you know, you've been through these minor subdivisions before. The subdivision developer is required to submit for both primary and secondary. That's been split this evening, and as always, this body has split a vote as to primary and secondary, so it would require 2 votes. The property owner, property petitioner, and applicant are all the same, GLI 275 US 20 LLC. The engineer surveyor on this project is CHAAPC Engineering and Land Surveying, and Mr. Tony Hendricks is here this evening representing the engineering and land surveying company. Again, the request is for a minor subdivision, primary and secondary plat approval. That was the request under the petition. You'll recall that Mr. York in his report and Attorney Unger in his description indicated that they were seeking initially primary approval. So any motion, at least at this stage of our hearing tonight, should reference primary approval. I would also note, you've been through this as well many times, that Mr. York has included in his staff report some conditions. As always, if you want any conditions to be included in your motion, you must make them as part of the motion. You may refer to them as the conditions set forth in Mr. York's report, or read them aloud, or add your own conditions if you have some that you'd like to promote. Finally, the property is 201/275 West Highway 20. The petitioner, as we've discussed, is asking for minor subdivision approval. I have had an opportunity last week to review the notice documentation that the petitioner submitted early, which I appreciate. And the applicant has met all of the requirements that we have for notification, and you're free to consider this matter tonight in regards to notification. I would conclude by noting that on my written report, you'll see that I've listed, as always, the documentation that I consider to be part of the record this evening. This is primarily the documentation submitted by the petitioner. I would just add that it would also include the notification documentation that the petitioner has submitted to me and the handout that the petitioner made earlier this evening. That, as well as the petitioner's presentation, Mr. York's report, and this report are part of the record tonight. With that, I would conclude my report.
Mr. York, just to clarify a point, your report, your comments were as to both of the 2 petitions. Is that correct?
you are correct, Mr. President. I included both of them. That's what I was just about to ask. What would be the appropriate vote on the second petition? Because we don't want to deny it and we don't want to continue it. Would it be, if they vote for a primary to approve, would it be then to give staff approval to allow staff to approve secondary plat at or planning staff once it's been I guess once the other departments have said they're good with it or they've signed off on it? What would be the appropriate motion for the second vote, if you will? I'm sorry, I'm asking a question.
Well, if you're asking me the question, the the secondary plat approval is typically done by the enforcement officer. That would be Mr. York. And so I would think that, given Mr. Unger's statement that he's looking tonight only for primary plat approval, that there be a vote taken on that motion, and we can convene at a later time if you want to review what is submitted for the secondary plat. But it sounds from the comments that were made by our city engineer and your plan commission member, Mr. Warner, that there may be some further modifications to the plat that's submitted. And so it might be appropriate just to have the one vote. I assume Mr. Unger is in favor of that.
Yes, we would be agreeable to a vote on the primary plat approval and then taking no action on the secondary plat approval, and then, working administratively through that, without the need to come back to the plan commission unless there's substantial modifications.
So, Mr. Hale, is that consistent with your comments that we only call for a motion and vote as to petition 902-25-1?
That is correct. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Consistent.
all.
Mr. York, do you have any comment on that?
That's all I was trying to clarify, just making sure that I understand what exactly my order, what the order of the commission will be to staff.
Very well. Is there a motion by any member of the commission as to petition 902-25-1?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we approve petition 902-25-1 with the understanding of the staff recommendations be provided, that it is provided by the other departments and the staff, all be addressed, and before we have any reference to the secondary approval, and that the attorney's report submitted with the listing included be included in this report in this approval.
Do we have a second?
I will second that very long-winded motion.
Very well. So,
Et cetera.
yeah. So, Mr. York, I'll let you take the roll call this time on the motion.
Get me all choked up. No. Mr. Balling,
Yes.
Mr. Connolly,
Yes.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Domenici,
Aye.
Mr. Klender,
Yes.
Ms. Tieta,
Yes.
Mr. Warner,
Aye.
motion approved. Thank you, guys.
Motion passed. All right, so now it seems like we should entertain a motion as to whether we handle 902-25-2 this evening.
Attorney Hill?
Or you want to just wait?
I don't really know what to say.
Do we need a motion that it's removed from the agenda?
I think a motion that we remove it from tonight's
Okay,
agenda
that's-
would be appropriate because it has been on the agenda and the agenda was approved.
Very well. May I have a motion for that?
Motion to remove petition 902-252 from the agenda.
Very well. I have a second. Oh, very well. So, Mr. York, can you take call?
Call for the vote. Mr. Balling,
Yes.
Mr. Connolly,
Yes.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Domenici,
Aye.
Mr. Klender,
Yes.
Ms. Tieta,
Yes.
Mr. Warner.
Aye.
Motion approved. We'll see you soon.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Unger, we'll talk soon. Absolutely.
Yep.
Very well. So we'll move on to old business, new business, the discussion approval of the stormwater ordinance.
We do have a Mr. Al Wallace with us tonight. Again, I'm gonna ask him to come up, get you up here yet. Oh, go ahead.
Mr. President, may I make a comment? I think explanatory before we begin with Mr. Wallace. You should have before you, ladies and gentlemen, 3 documents. There is an ordinance. It's a proposed ordinance that ordinance is the sort of document that's flamboyant. It has a lot of whereas clauses and some flowery language and says that la-ti-da. But included in the ordinance are two exhibits. Exhibit A, which is attached to the ordinance, and Exhibit B, which you have loose. Exhibit A is the proposed new stormwater management ordinance, and it is a technical document. It has all of the technical standards, and all the words are the words that you would look for in a city code. And that's where that ordinance is going to go, into the city code. And Exhibit B relates to the zoning code and the subdivision code. Those two documents can contain the parts of the code, the zoning code and the subdivision code that have to be adjusted to reflect this new stormwater code. So if you're following me, the stormwater code is going to be taken from our existing zoning ordinance, deleted entirely. Article 20 in our zoning code is coming out. You'll see that in Exhibit B. And to replace that stormwater ordinance in our zoning ordinance, there's going to be this new ordinance in the city code, not part of the zoning code. And there are important differences between the codes. But as you can remember or can understand, there are many references throughout the zoning code and throughout the subdivision code that make reference to the stormwater issues. Most of them just relate to requiring reference to Article 20. Well, Article 20 is going to be different and gone. What we want to reference is the new city code, stormwater management code. And so those had to be changed. But there are some minor changes that have to be made in the zoning code and the subdivision code to eliminate references to what's now deleted, or after we approve this is deleted, and what will replace it. And there is some language, just non-substantive language inserted back into the zoning code and the subdivision code, just to make it flow well, read well, and direct any developer or project person to the new stormwater management code in the city code. I'll answer questions if I didn't make myself clear, but I wanted you to understand what this is all doing and why you have these documents. Finally, you also have in front of you a resolution and certification to the city council. You will recall that to change a zoning code, we do not have the authority to make that change ourselves. If it's part of an ordinance, it has to be passed by the Common Council, which makes ordinances for the city. Our job, that is the Planning Commission function, is to approve it and send it on with a favorable recommendation to the Common Council so that they will pass this new ordinance, which you have in front of you. We aren't really connected to the rest of it, that is Exhibit A and the proposed ordinance, except that they're part of the overall scheme. And so I think appropriately you would approve it all. But we're primarily concerned with the changes to our zoning code and our subdivision code. So because we send it on to the Common Council, we're required to have a resolution, and we're required to certify the results of a vote. That is, we certify that we're sending it on to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation. Now, I'm saying that I don't know if we will come to a vote this evening. We are intending to discuss this and open this up, give you a chance to review these documents, which are voluminous and in some respects technical, and we would love for you all to have a chance to review that. So those are my comments. I wanted you to understand how we're proceeding. I'm sorry, Mr. Wallace.
No, I appreciate the preamble, though. No issues at all. And just to kind of expand on that a little bit from Attorney Hale's summary, just a very quick update on the reason why we're here. Back in December of 2021, IDEM issued 2 brand new permits. One was called the Construction Stormwater General Permit, and the other was the MS4 Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System Permit. Those permits required MS4s across the state, cities and towns, counties, to update their stormwater ordinance. Some of the components of the current Michigan City Stormwater Ordinance date back to 2007, so they're somewhat dated. We have some newer ordinance language that came in Article 20 in the zoning code. So that's the reason we're here. We must update the stormwater ordinance. As Attorney Hale said, the Exhibit A Stormwater Ordinance is primarily a technical document. It's 49 pages long, so I imagine to be one of the longer ordinances will be taken before the City Council. The development of the technical nature of that ordinance was done by stormwater professionals and county surveyors across the state. They held different meetings. They reviewed the IDEM permits, came up with a template ordinance under the direction of Purdue University. And then locally, we used that template ordinance to tailor it to Michigan City. So it covers illicit discharges into the storm sewer, stormwater quantity, stormwater quality procedures, and so forth. That's why the long nature of that ordinance. And then, as Attorney Hale said, in the zoning code and current subdivision code, there's many references between those documents and the current stormwater ordinance. So Mr. York and Attorney Hale did a very detailed review of the zoning and subdivision codes. And in Exhibit B that you have before you tonight, there's 43 different additions and deletions that detail what's currently in the zoning code and the subdivision code that has to be changed to make it conform with the new stormwater ordinance. And then kind of moving forward with the technical nature of the Exhibit A that you have before you today, the 49 pages of the stormwater ordinance, some of that language was very specific to what's included in the IDEM permits. So if there are some detailed questions from commissioners here today, a possible way to move forward is if you want to contact me in the intervening couple weeks, we could sit down and discuss any issues you might have with the Exhibit A, the 49-page ordinance. As we're in the month of May right now, we have a small amount of flexibility. If the commission would decide to hold over a vote until the June meeting, we can accommodate that in our schedule. If we get this approved at the June Plan Commission meeting, we would have July and August over the summer to get it approved, hopefully through the City Council. And we would not want to go much past Labor Day to get everything finalized. So we do have a little bit of flexibility. Those 49 pages are pretty technical in nature. And, perhaps the way forward is if there's any technical questions, rather than discuss those at the board meeting tonight, I most likely would not be able to give firm answers, because if there were questions that would change some of the language, I would have to go back to the 2 IDEM permits to make sure we're in compliance with that. But staff at the sanitary district would have no issue meeting with any of the Plan Commission members to go over any questions. Since this is a very technical document, we want to make sure it's done right. As new developments coming in, at some point as we get an approved ordinance, as the zoning code and subdivision code may be changed by Exhibit B, we want to make sure we get it right. We want to make sure the Plan Commission's comfortable with it, because ultimately developers that come before you are going to be using this ordinance. So I think there's a little bit of flexibility if we want to go that route, and we could certainly make sure we get the information to respond to any questions that might come up on the technical side.
Mr. Wallace, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is this this is a standard document that's used throughout other communities too. So if developers are in other communities, theoretically coming here, it makes it a little bit easier to transition into something they're
Yes,
used to.
and a couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity to attend the IDEM MS4 annual meeting in Indianapolis. There were about 300 individuals there from across the state, individuals who implement MS4. There were developers there, and some of the discussion at the conference was the mutual benefits to cities and developers having a consistent document that's in use across the state. And the only reason that happened is because of the foresight of Purdue University through the local technical assistance program to prepare the template ordinance. So it is pretty much a standard, and it's helped resolve a lot of issues where one community might have one standard and you go across corporate lines and there's a different standard. So there was much talk at the annual conference about the many benefits of going to the model template, but tweaked to make sure it addresses local conditions.
Any members of the commission have questions or comments?
Well, my general comment is that looks like we're going to put a rubber stamp on recommendations and we have to trust everybody that has knowledge along these lines that what we're doing is we're moving in the right direction. And I don't have any doubt that all of the references that you make indicate that. It's an interesting decision to make based on little or no knowledge.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of mention the same thing. You know, we had a little bit of a talk about this, and just looking at this is very high level, detailed stuff. And when it comes to the council and we see this, there's going to be a lot of reliance on the eyes that have seen this before it gets to us. And a lot of trust in, you know, what you guys are going to be doing and what you have done. So this is a biggie and it's going to move us forward. But I mean, the council, when we see this and when they see this and the amount of pages and that, we're going to be a lot of people, you know, relying on the knowledge that you guys have and the review that you've done. Of course, people are going to read it, but like I said, it's high level stuff. So I appreciate you putting in all the work to get this done. And I can say that before the council meeting actually comes, because this is up there. This is high level stuff.
Yeah, excuse me, one other quick thing here. Is there a plan commission resolution number that we should reference when we either deny or approve this petition or resolution?
I believe this is resolution number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, there's a blank up here.
Yeah.
You're sitting planning resolution number.
I do believe this is our second resolution. I'm looking at Debbie back there. I believe so.
One.
2.
Well, based on Mr. Dabney's comment and some other comments and what I see as some nods of agreement. And I know that Mr. Warner has reviewed this. I know that he would appreciate a little bit more time to take a look at it. I know that Mr. York has reviewed it and he has technical knowledge. I understood that Mr. Wallace was telling us that the template came from Purdue University. And he has reviewed it along with your staff at the sanitary district, right?
And our stormwater consultant, yes.
And a stormwater consultant. So there have been a lot of eyes on this. But it seems to me because of its technicality, and finally, Mr. Klinders notes that how difficult it is to even read through all these pages. It seems to me that a motion to continue this to our next meeting would be appropriate if that's your feeling and not just mine.
I'm prepared to make a motion to continue it, but if a member of the commission wants to make a motion, go ahead.
Before that, I'd like to make a comment. Would it make any sense for us to maybe submit or collect our questions and any issues that we might see when we read through it so that he has it before that meeting so that we're just a little bit more efficient with our time?
Yes. I think that would be very helpful, actually, probably for Mr. Wallace as well, to have them. So we're not just blasting him with questions. I don't know, Mr. Wallace.
So in that case, should we submit our questions perhaps to?
Yeah, if you want to see, if you want to send them to, I'm sorry,
To you.
to me and Debbie, make sure she gets copied on them. So if I'm not here, hit by the bus, whatever, somebody gets them. We'll collect them and we can send them to Mr. Wallace and Mr. Attorney Hill as well. That would be probably pretty helpful.
Okay, should we perhaps establish a deadline for that so he has time to?
Yeah, Mr.
respond.
Wallace, what's fair to you?
Yeah, I would say within the next 2 weeks, and I was going to offer that if within 2 weeks, if you can send any specific or general comments to Mr. York, we'll review those comments. If we think they're of a nature that might require kind of more of a sit-down meeting, depending on the nature of questions, we can get those organized and get everything answered before the June Plan Commission meeting.
Okay, 2 weeks sounds good. We could do some reading on the beach.
Mr. Hedda, did you wish to make a motion to that effect?
So can I just add,
I'm sorry.
can I just add one more thing? There are a lot of things in here. How do I want to say this? Well, I forget what your words were earlier. I'll call it fluff, or whatever words you want to use. Some of that is, it may not be technical in nature, but I don't even know if it's required of the order, but it's the way that we write the ordinances, and the way that they're structured to actually be incorporated and adopted by the council. So keep that in mind. There are structural things in here that, they're structured on the paper in a certain way and written a certain way. They may not be, like I said, they may not be technical, but there's a reason why they're written in that way. Does that make sense? So if we could keep it to like technical, I guess, asking questions of technical nature, shall versus will, things of that nature, or just questions about the ordinance itself, rather than, I guess, construction of, I don't know, the paragraphs and things of that nature.
Yeah, I was actually envisioning it more as like self-education, that it's like,
Perfect.
why was it done? Why is this done this way?
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
It will only make us better commissioners.
Absolutely.
So, oh, I'm sorry, public comments.
Hello, Board. Scott Mellon, Turn Kenwood Place. If I may, we're talking about a 49-page ordinance here. So it's complicated for everybody in every city council person and board that's going to be involved with this. And I think they're all going to run into the same questions. I've followed this. It's been in some meetings before this. It's required based on the change of our taking it out of the zoning and putting it into the municipal code. I've seen a flow chart that had a lot of green and blue and red, and it really cleans a lot of things up. Things to keep in mind is that we're not reinventing the wheel here. This is using best practices and a statewide template, if you will, based on Purdue and modern best practices. What I would suggest, not just a 2-week period for you all to ask questions, because I think members of the city council will also be confronted with a massive 49-page ordinance. I would suggest a stormwater workshop for all members that would be involved in voting on this at any stage of its approval process. That might clear up a lot of questions for a lot of different people. What do you think, Mr. Dabney?
Yeah, and discussion I had with Skylar was just, and I think it was Mr. Wallace as well, just layman's terms, points. Number one, this is what it's supposed to do, you know, how it functions and so forth, just to kind of put it in layman's terms for us. Let the council see that rather than taking on the 49 pages. Because I said, I mean, I talked to him about it and I looked at it. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So I'm reading it and going along through it. And like I said, it's just high level stuff that they understand. These guys have expertise in this. And I just I think I asked for just like a layman's terms of what it does, and, just break that down for our city council when it comes to us, because those are really going to be the bigger questions. What is it for? What does it do? Why do we need it? Those type of questions will really be, I doubt we see real technical questions breaking into this thing and talking about it, but something simple like that would be great for us. I think we'll be fine moving forward. But if we want to continue this, I mean, I'm fine with that as well. They said they had the time to be able to handle that. So I'm okay either way we go.
I would suggest again a workshop for all members, because if this gets first reading for city council and if we answer everybody's questions before it reaches council and so forth, it probably would speed its passage and just make it easier for everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I'm sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I guess the one question I would submit, does the stormwater ordinance also include a stormwater fee? I know back in 2014, we tried doing that. But Mayor Muir, he wanted to put on I know other municipalities have this. It was going to be $14.11 a month per parcel. A lot of us, we have multiple parcels. At the time, I had 4 parcels. I'm only down to 1 now. But that's one of the questions I'd be asking. Thank you.
Yes, I can address that. There is no stormwater fee whatsoever associated with the stormwater drainage ordinance. The stormwater drainage ordinance is specifically for stormwater quantity, stormwater quality, illicit discharge. There are ultimately some fees the sanitary district may assign to developers for stormwater plan review. So as a developer would want to come to the city and create new impervious surface, the ordinance requires submittal of a drainage plan. So to be fair to all the residents of Michigan City, as other cities have done, they've created a plan review fee. So there's no general stormwater fee for any property holders in Michigan City. The only fees that may be associated with the ordinance at some time would be if the sanitary district requested a stormwater review fee to recoup the district's cost for staff or consulting engineers to review those documents.
Any comments from the commission?
Yeah, I'd like to add, this is in reference to Mr. Dabney's comment, also the general public. I think a workshop is not entirely a bad idea, but I also do think that Mr. Wallace explained very, very well at previous meetings what the intent of this was and what the objective was. So I don't know that we need to really spend the time to rehash that. And again, just to reiterate, it's not about questioning the decisions that were made or how certain aspects of the code or ordinance were written. It's really just for us to understand maybe why certain things are done. So we just have a better understanding. Thank you.
So did you wish to continue? You were starting to make a motion. Did you wish to make a motion?
Want me to make a motion that we continue the discussion concerning the stormwater ordinance to our June meeting?
Is there a second?
Can I ask for an amendment to that to discuss the 2 weeks comments back? Add that to your motion, that we get comments back to the sanitary district, to Al Wallace, in 2 weeks.
Yes, that'd be the reason that we would have the continuance so that we can get further questions to Mr. Wallace and Mr. York.
Is it okay if we're specific about that meeting and time, so we don't have to do noticing process and things of that nature? That meeting will be June 24th at 6 o'clock in this hall. Does that satisfy that, Mr. Hale? Okay.
Yes, the date was again June 24th?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, at 6 o'clock.
I will second that motion.
Very well. Could you take a roll call, Mr. York?
Yes. So to continue, Give me 1 second. I'm just making some notes.
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Balling,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Domenici,
Yes.
Mr. Klinger,
Yes.
Ms. Sietta,
Yes.
and Mr. Warner.
Aye.
Great. So we will continue this stormwater ordinance and the adoption or certification to the council to the June 24th meeting of the Michigan City Planning Commission at 6 p.m.
If I could say one final thing, Mr. President, I want to thank the commission. You've been very accommodating with your time, allowing me to come before you, multiple meetings, putting this on the agenda. Look forward to working with commissioners when they questions, get feedback to you. And then lastly, as a result of the permit modifications in 2021, cities and towns and counties will be required to review and update the stormwater ordinance every 5 years. So hopefully, as we're able to educate commissioners, educate council people about stormwater issues, it will help facilitate future updates to the ordinance. So again, thank you for your time over the past few months.
Thank
For
you.
your time, Mr. Wallace.
Thanks for your passion. It seems like you really love what you do.
Are there any other public comments? Well, that completes the agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
You have a second?
Second.
Very well.